Join us in this episode as we leave Scotland and sail across the Norwegian Sea to the Faroe Islands. I'm Jasmine, and these are my parents, Guy and Joe. And this is our home, Free Spirit. Come join us on our adventures. After spending a long winter in Stornoway Harbour, we started the engine on Free Spirit. It had been the best part of 6 months since we had sailed, and we were nervous to set off again. We said goodbye to our newly made friends and let go of the mooring lines. We headed to the fuel dock to fill up our tank, ready for the long journey. And finally we were off. We would not touch land again until we reached the Faroe Islands, over 200 nautical miles away. The winds were too light to properly sail initially, but it felt good to be out on the water again. We soaked in our last views of the Scottish coast, which had been our home for the last 2 years. Slowly the winds began to pick up and we could start sailing. To our port we sighted the Butt of Lewis, the most northerly point in the Outer Hebrides. We watched it fade into the distance as we headed out into the open ocean. the winds continued to pick up, and we decided to pull in our headsail and put a reef in the main. And not a moment too soon, as the conditions continued to rapidly worsen. The winds whipped up a swell. The waves and wind came at us side on, making for an uncomfortable ride. Down below, our safely stowed possessions swayed and rocked around. With occasional gusts now reaching 27 knots, we pulled the mainsail down to the third reef, a tricky task given the conditions. We decided to heave to, a manoeuvre which effectively parks the boat at sea, by turning the nose of Free Spirit through the wind, backing the staysail, and turning the helm into the wind. We were able to sit the boat at roughly 60 degrees to the wind and swell. The motion of the boat was greatly reduced, allowing us to calmly tidy the third reef and stow and lash down any gear that was beginning to loosen. Once everything was in order, we turned back onto our course and continued sailing.
We're doing 7 knots set up as we are.
The boat still sped along, making for an unpleasant ride, at least for me, who had begun to feel a little worse for wear. The swell and winds continued on into the night. But by the time of my morning watch, the winds had begun to calm. With just a few disappearing boats to worry about, I watched as the first rays of light peeked above the horizon. All trace of land had disappeared, and we were alone in the vast ocean. Well, almost alone. Despite being so far from land, we were still accompanied by many seabirds. Fulmars and gannets glided over the waves and circled our boat. The winds had died down, but having travelled so fast, we were now ahead of schedule, and with the winds moving further to the stern, we kept the mainsail reefed, but set our headsail canvas. We carried on taking watches to allow the others to catch up on sleep. Something strange broke the surface. We gathered on deck to see what it was.
Oh, it's an orca!
A pod of male orca swam parallel to Free Spirit. We were so excited to see them.
Oh my god, it jumped!
It had long been a dream of ours to get close to these incredible animals, and we never expected it this early on in our adventures. It was magical to share the waves with them.
So blue. Oh my god, it's coming off just off the front.
As the sun sank lower, the orca left us, and we were alone once more. In calm seas, with the Faroes roughly 25 nautical miles away, we decided to hove to for the night, so as to not arrive in darkness, making sure we were far enough away not to be influenced by the strong tidal streams that run around the islands. A flock of curious fulmars gathered around us, bobbing on the waves. On the horizon, a dark smudge appeared.
Oh, bloody hell. That must be. That's the Faroes. It's the Faroes.
The Faroe Islands were finally in view. The next morning we awoke, well rested, and set off once again. There was almost no wind, so we motored. With our destination in sight, we made preparations for our arrival. It felt great to finally see land again and to have journeyed here on our own boat, just our little family. More and more dramatic cliffs and islands emerged from the mist. As we got closer, the clouds receded and we were bathed in bright sunshine. We headed for the port of Vágur, on the southernmost island of Suðuroy.
Free Spirit, sailing vessel Free Spirit arriving from Scotland, the United Kingdom. Over.
After 2 days at sea and 217 nautical miles, we had made it to our destination. It felt surreal to finally be here, and it was time to celebrate.
Thanks to Julie Hanson for giving this to us. And she said for a special occasion and making it to the Faroes.
Feels special.
Feels very, very special. Guys, been great. Thank you, crew.
And for seeing killer whales, Orca.
We've seen Orca. Another dream come true. So, fantastic trip. And here we are in the sunshine in the Faroes before winter starts again tomorrow.
A lot after that bumpy ride.
Here we go. Hey!
Join us next time as we begin to explore the Faroe Islands and discover that winter isn't quite over yet. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like to help support the production of these videos, as well as getting early ad-free videos, then click the link in the description and head over to my Patreon account. Thanks for watching. You having fun? You okay?
Oh, hold me. Not just my t-shirt, hold my bloody...
Stop wobbling, boat!